हरि जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी जय गिरिवर धारी जय यशोदा नंदना जय प्रजजन रंजना जय यशोदानंदना जय प्रजजन रंजना जय यशोदानंदना जय प्रजजन रंजना जय यशोदानंदना जय प्रजजन रंजना जय यमुना तिरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जगन्नाथ बलेश्वर माई की जय नरसिंह भगवान की जय पंच तत्व की जय षड गोस्वामी की जय गुरु परंपरा की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय टैगोर प्रेमानंद हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu's Mother, yes. Welcome all of you for this Srimad Bhagavatam session. So today we'll be discussing verse number 24, the last two verses of this chapter, 24 and 25 of this fourth canto, third chapter. तत्ते निरीक्ष्यो न पितापि देहकृत् दक्षो मम द्विट् तदनुवृताश्च ये यो विश्वसृग्यज्ञ गतं वरोरुमाम् अनागसं दुर्वचसा करोत्यरः तत्ते निरीक्ष्यो न पितापि देहकृत् दक्षो मम द्वेट् तदनुवृताश्च ये यो विश्वसृग्यज्ञ गतं वरोरुमाम् अनागसं दुर्वचसा करोत्तिरः तत्ते निरीक्ष्यो न पितापि देहकृत् दक्षो मम द्वेट् तदनुवृताश्च यो विश्वसृक् ये विश्वसृग्यज्ञ गतं वरोरुमाम् अनागसं दुर्वचसा करोतिरः. One Mataji and one Prabhuji can recite.
May I, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. तत्ते निरीक्ष्यो न पितापि देहकृत् दक्षो मम द्विट् तदनुव्रताश्च ये यो विश्वसृज्ञज्ञ गतं वरोरुमाम् अनागसं दुर्वचसा करोतिरः. Hare
Very
Krishna.
nice. Thank you. Yes, one Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, may I?
Hare Krishna, Balaji, please.
तत्ते निरीक्ष्यो न पितापि देहकृद् दक्षो मम द्विट् तदनुव्रताश्च ये यो विश्वसृग्यज्ञ गतं वरोरुमाम् अनागसं दुर्वचसागरोत्तिरः.
Thank you. Okay, word to word meaning, we'll go to that. Tat, therefore, te, your, nirikshya, to be seen, na, not, pita, your father, api, although, dehakrit, the giver of your body, daksha, daksha, mama, my, dvit, envious, tat anuvritaha, his, daksha's followers, cha, also, ye, who, yaha, who, daksha, vishwasrik, of the Vishwasriks, yajna gatam, being present at the sacrifice, varauru, O sati, mam, me, anagasam, being innocent, durvachasa, with cruel words, akarot tiraha, has insulted. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please hear the translation and purport. Therefore, you should not see your father, although he is the giver of your body, because he and his followers are envious of me. Because of his envy, O most worshipful one, he has insulted me with cruel words, although I am innocent. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. For a woman, both the husband and the father are equally worshipable. The husband is the protector of a woman during her youthful life, whereas the father is a protector during her childhood. Thus, both are worshipable, but especially the father because he is the giver of the body. Lord Shiva reminded Sati, your father is undoubtedly worshipable, even more than I am. But take care, for although he is the giver of your body, he may also be the taker of your body. Because when you see your father, he may insult you because of your association with me. An insult from a relative is worse than death, especially when one is well situated. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Go to the next verse, 25th. Yadi vrajishya satihay madvacho bhadram bhavatya na tato bhavishyati sambhavitasya swajanat parabhavo yada sasadyo maranaya kalpate. यदि व्रजस्य तिहाय मद्वचो भद्रं भवत्या न तथो भविष्यति संभावितस्य स्वजनात् पराभवो यदा स सद्यो मरणाय कल्पते. यदि व्रजिष्यस्य तिहाय मद्वचो भद्रं भवत्या न तथो भविष्यति संभावितस्य स्वजनात् पराभवो यदा स सद्यो मरणाय कल्पते. Anybody
Hare
wants to
Krishna.
recite?
May
Yes,
I
Maraji. Yes, ma'am.
यदि व्रजिष्यस्य तिहाय मद्वचो भद्रं भवत्या न ततो भविष्यति सम्भावितस्य स्वजनात् पराभवो यदा स सद्यो मरणाय कल्पते. हरे
Very nice.
कृष्ण.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Go to the word meaning. Yadi, if Vrajishyasi, you will go. Atihaya, neglecting. Mat vachaha, my words. Bhadram, good. Bhavatyaha, your. Na, not. Tataha, then. Bhavishyati, will become. Sambhavitasya, most respectable. Swajanat, by your own relative. Parabhavaha, are insulted. Yada, when. Saha, that insult. Sadhya, immediately. Maranaya, to death. Kalpate is equal. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please hear the translation. If, no, Lord Shiva telling to Sati, if in spite of this instruction, you decide to go, neglecting my words, the future will not be good for you. You are most respectable. And when you are insulted by your relative, this insult will immediately be equal to death. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the fourth canto, third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Talks Between Lord Shiva and Sati. Om Gyantimrandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manohishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Yadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagalanita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yonta Pravisya Mama Vacham Imam Prasuptam Sanjeevayati Akila Shakti Dharasvadhamna Anyam च हस्तचरण श्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् भगवते शायतुभ्यं मुखं करोतु वाचालं भङ्गं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातं वन्दे त्वां नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतलेश्वरी महाश्वेताय नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतलेश्वरी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु. So Hare Krishna Prabhu Mataji's welcome all of you for keeping the appointment with Krishna for hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam today. Today is 13th of, sorry, it's not 13th, 3rd of July, 2024. So as you all know, this chapter is entitled Talks Between Lord Shiva and Sati. And the previous chapter was Taksha curses Lord Shiva. See, so in this current word, the translation, no, Prabhupada says, therefore you should not see your father. So it remains from the previous words, it's continuing. Why you should not see his father, right? Because he says, therefore you should not see your father because although he is the giver of your body, because he and his followers are envious of me. That is the reason, because they are envious of me. And because of his envy, he says to Master, O most worshipful one, he has insulted me with cruel words, although I am innocent. See, in this wonderful verse, the previous verse, 23rd verse, right? Where it says, Lord Shiva is telling in the previous verse to this one which we are discussing today, I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always in pure consciousness in which Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. So here, Lord Shiva is telling Mata Parvati how he has when he was in trance, meditating on Lord Shri Krishna. And therefore, He did not notice Prajapati Daksha when he entered the sacrificial arena. So Daksha, not realizing the transcendental position of Lord Shiva, out of envy, he chastises and cursed him for not paying him respects. See, actually, the pure devotees, no, they're always meditating on the Lord. And that makes them to forget the surrounding at times, totally absorbed. So in such engagement, the Lord reveals himself to the devotees without any covering. That's why the word apavrataha is worth meditating on this verse. That is 23rd verse. Prabhupada explains in the purport of the 23rd verse, the Lord's internal potency is described by the word apavrataha. That means free from covering. See, the Lord's name, the Lord's fame, quality, the paraphernalia, right? They are being transcendental, is beyond the conception of this material imagination. So it is not possible to know for any one of them, it is not possible with their material senses. So when the senses are purified, how? By discharge of pure devotional service. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate. Pure senses can see Krishna without a covering. Srila Prabhupada explains how one may get a doubt that although the pure devotee senses, they resemble same to that of a non-devotee. So how is it that possible for the pure devotee to visualize the uncovered form of the Lord? So answer is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that pure devotional service cleanses the mirror of the mind. In a clean mirror, right, one can see one's face very clearly, very distinctly. Similarly, simply by cleansing the mirror of the mind, one can have the clear conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it is possible, as it is given in Bhagavad Gita 8.8, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. By executing one's prescribed duties in devotion service, by hearing about God and chanting about Him, if one's mind is always engaged and not allowed to go elsewhere, one can realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the word Vishuddham means purity. So purity is the force. Our body, mind, words, deeds, everything should be pure. Prabhupada is mentioning that success is only possible by celibacy. And celibacy is purity of thought, word, and deed. See, contrary to the general understanding, celibacy includes control of not only this sex impulse, but also control of other senses. Celibacy is of two kinds, physical and mental. Now, physical celibacy is abstinence from sex act. And mental celibacy is the control of impure thoughts. And mental celibacy is more difficult than physical celibacy. So it is the mind that does all the actions. A desire arises in the mind. Then one thinks how to fulfill it. And then action follows. So no space is empty at any time. If one thing is removed from one place, immediately another thing comes to take its place. So it is necessary to entertain divine thoughts to replace evil thoughts. It is necessary to entertain divine thoughts to replace evil thoughts. So how to maintain mental celibacy? My Guru Maharaj used to say, if you want to remain a brahmachari, you must get married to Srimad Bhagavatam. If you don't marry Srimad Bhagavatam, the four walls in your house will itself kill you. And you will not be able to maintain celibacy. So by hearing this statement, you should not misinterpret that Srimad Bhagavatam is only for the brahmacharis. It is also to grihasthas, wherein he had told, even though you are married, always keep the spirit of brahmacharya alive in you. So you should have some quiet moments with the scriptures in your home daily. And that will keep the fire of devotional service going. So irrespective of our ashram, we need to take shelter of the scriptures. and purify our thoughts. Purify our thoughts, purify our words, purify deeds, and then the Lord will reveal himself to us without any covering. As Kunti Maharani prays in Bhagavatam 1:8-19, Maya Javanika Channam Agyadokshajam Avyayam Na Lakshyase Mudadrisha Nato Natyadharo Yatha. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. So when we are not pure in our thoughts, then the Lord will cover himself by the curtain of Maya and will not be able to recognize him. So let us pray that the Lord is Guru, Shri Prabhupada and Krishna to give us the strength to practice purity in the thoughts, words, and deeds. So in the purport of this 24th verse, Prabhupada says, for a woman, both the husband and the father are equally worshipable. We just now saw while when we were reading, right? The husband is the protector of a woman during her youthful life, whereas the father is a protector during her childhood. So both are worshipable, but especially the father because he is the giver of the body. See, the purport of 3:33:19, third canto, 33rd chapter, 19th verse, Prabhupada says, the ideal husband and wife relationship is very nicely described in this statement. Kadama Muni gave Devahuti all sorts of comforts in his duty as a husband. But he was not at all attached to his wife. As soon as his son, Kapil Deva, was grown up, Kadama Muni at once left all family connection. Now, similarly, Devahuti was the daughter of a great king, Swayambhu Manu, and was qualified and beautiful. But she was completely dependent on the protection of her husband. So, according to Manu, women, the fair sex, should not have independence at any stage of life. In childhood, a woman must be under the protection of the parents. In youth, she must be under the protection of her husband. And in old age, she must be under the protection of the grown-up children. So Devahuti demonstrated all these statements of the Manu Samhita in her life. As a child, she was dependent on her father. Later, she was dependent on her husband. And in spite of her opulence, she was later on dependent on her son, Kapilideva. So this point, very important, simple point to understand. Now, in this 24th verse itself, there's a word dvit, right? The dvit means envious. So what did Lord Shiva say? Therefore, you should not see your father, although he is the giver of your body, because he and his followers are envious of me. And because of his envy, O most worshipful one, he has insulted me with cruel words, although I am innocent. So this word envious is very powerful. You need to meditate all how to remove this enviousness. How powerful is this, right? And see us. In one of the lectures, Prabhupada says, Asuya means envious, envy. I am speaking to you because you are not envious. So this is the qualification. Now, if you are envious of God, why you are because why you are envious of God? You say, why, who is God? I am God. Why shall I hear from God? I know better than him. This is enviousness. But Arjuna is not envious. We are not envious as a devotee, actually. So this material world is enviousness. I am envious of you. You are envious of me. I cannot see you very opulent. You cannot see me very opulent. And that is the reason there is rivalry, competition. Competition in this world, man to man, friend to friend, even father and son. So the competition is there because we are envious. Suppose I am your neighbor and I become rich. So although there is no enmity, still my neighbors will be envious. Oh, this man has become so rich. I could not become. So this is the nature. So if we try to understand Bhagavan, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Being, our first qualification should be we should not be envious. See, the purport of 10.731, Prabhupada says, Krishna conscious life means innocent devotional life. And a sadhu is one who is fully devoted to Krishna. As it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10.30, Bhajate mam anye bhak sadhu evasya mantavya. Anyone fully attached to Krishna is a sadhu. Now, Nanda Maharaj and the gopis and other cowherd men, they could not understand that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, playing as a human being, and that his life was not in danger under any circumstances. But in fact, because of their intense parental love for Krishna, no, they thought that Krishna was an innocent child and he had been saved by the Supreme Lord. So in the material world, because of this intense lust and desire for enjoyment, right, one becomes implicated in sinful life more and more. Kama esha krodesha rajo guna samudvaha. Therefore, the quality of fear is one of the aspects of material life. Ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha. But if one becomes Krishna conscious, the process of devotional service, Shravanam Kirtanam, it diminishes one's polluted life. It diminishes one's polluted life of material existence. And one is purified and protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shranmatam Sokata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. So in devotional life, one has faith in this process. Such faith is one of the 6 kinds of surrender that is given in Hari Bhakti Vilasa 11.6.676, 11.676, right? Rakshishyati iti Vishwasaha. That is, one of the processes of surrender is that one should simply depend on Krishna, convinced that he will give one for all protection. So that Krishna will protect his devotee is a fact. And Nanda Maharaj and the other inhabitants of Vrindavana accepted this very simply. Although they did not know that Supreme Lord himself was present before them. This is the beauty. See, in the Govardhan pastimes, right? 100% faith in the Lord, complete dependence. When he lifted the Govardhana hill, and we asked all the when the Vajvasis to come under the Govardhana mountain, he just without any thought, they just came. They did not think that he's a small 5-year boy, 7-year boy, lifting in this small finger. If he leaves it, it will fall down. It will be gone. They didn't think about it, these things. They are 100% faith. So this just so this is the point to understand. Very simple. So there have been many instances in which a devotee, like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, they were all put in difficulty, even by their fathers. But they were all saved under all circumstances. So our only business is to become Krishna conscious and depend fully on Krishna for all protection. So today we'll discuss 2 important things with these 2 verses, right? First one is the enviousness, and the second one is obedience. See, of all the type of anarthas that we all possess, lust, anger, greed, jealousy, and all, envy upon other living entities and the Supreme Lord is the most dangerous, because it is only anartha which cannot be engaged in Lord's service and is the root cause of our separation from the Supreme Lord. See, one worst dimension of this anartha is that a person possessing envy, he rarely accepts the fact that he is envious. So the chances of correcting himself becomes very rare, right? So due to this envious propensity, we lament when others get opulences and become happy when they lose their opulence. In Mahabharata, Duryodhana was the symbol of envy towards the Pandavas. Pandavas were devotees, right? He was always morose at the success of Pandavas. So by political manipulation, he divided the kingdom into 2 halves and gave a forest, which is good for nothing to Pandavas. However, the Pandavas, they made a beautiful palace in that place with the help of the Devatas, and they performed great yajna, where all kings of the world were invited, including Duryodhana. So when Duryodhana was walking through the palace, his whole body was agitated by seeing the opulence of the palace. And he uttered, what did he say? He said, having seen the wealth and goods of the Pandavas, I burn, as it were. Coming under the influence of the burning sadness, I think this is fair. I will immolate myself in fire, or else I will consume poison, or else I will drown in water. For I indeed see no purpose in living. See the enviousness, because of they are so much opulent now, burning with envy. So we see in the words of Duryodhana that he feels he is correct in his envy towards the Pandavas. and felt very insecure and found no purpose in living. So we all possess the same mentality. And the result is we lose sight of the opulences we are having. We're only thinking about other people's opulences and getting envious and jealous and whatever. But if we lose sight of our own opulences, actually Duryodhana was having better opulence than the Pandavas and more military power due to the presence of great generals, no, like Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Vidura. He forgot all these things and was agitated with the opulence of the Pandavas. So he wanted them to lose all these opulences and suffer, right? Therefore, he invited them for the game of dice. My Maharaj used to say, when we are envious of somebody, we want that person to suffer different kinds of tension, though we don't gain anything by that person suffering. Correct? No? So in spiritual life also, when some people advance very fast, and they also get a lot of material opulences, we start feeling insecure due to our envy for them and start doubting the Lord's mercy and sometimes feel no purpose in continuing spiritual life. In a subtle way, we want them to face a lot of obstacles in material and spiritual life also. And when that happens, we feel very happy. However, the reality is that the Lord is unlimited and He can nourish the spiritual lives of any number of living entities provided they are sincere. So, on our part, no, it is just required to become sincere in our spiritual endeavors without looking at others' plates. The Lord is there to take us to His lotus feet without fail. Krishna consciousness is not competition. It is all about how nicely we serve Krishna to the best of our ability and remain satisfied in His service. Krishna consciousness is not a competition. It's all about how nicely we serve Krishna to the best of our ability and remain satisfied in His service. See, we have accounts, material accounts. So all these material accounts which we have, bank, family, so many things. So all these material accounts have got to be settled for good, so that they do not peep into our lives. Then only it becomes very easy to concentrate on spiritual matters. An important account to be settled is that of envy. And we are all envious of each other. There are 4 different types of envy, which are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Verses are 3, 32, 39, 40, 41, 42. Third canto, 32nd chapter, verse number 39, 40, 41, 40. 4 verses. And they are referred in Sanskrit as Khala, Dvesha, Asuya, and Matsara. They have different meanings, but the same effect. So on each and every one of the 4 types of envy, the ways to settle their accounts for good. Let us see how we can do that. First one is Khala. In 330 to 39, it says Khala. Lord Kapila is giving this. This instruction is not meant for the envious, for the agnostics, or for persons who are unclean in their behavior. Nor is it for hypocrites or persons who are proud of material possessions. So this verse lists so many people to whom we should not really instruct. That is, people who are envious, who are agnostic, who are persons who are unclean in their behavior, or to hypocrites or persons who are proud of material possession. No need. So there's a verse which says, Kriteya dhyayato Vishnu, Tretayam yajato makaihi, Dwapare paricharyaya, Kalau tad hari kirtana. Whatever result one obtained in Satyuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, one can also obtain in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So in Kali Yuga, Hare Kirtana nullifies everything. So this is the remedy. Again, Srimad Bhagavatam very beautifully says in 12:48, Sankirtyamano Bhagavan Anantaha Shrutanubhavo Vyasanam Hipumsam Praveshya Chittam Vidunotyashesham Yata Tamorko Brahm Ivati Vataha. Another beautiful verse where it says, when people properly glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead or simply hear about His power, see, when people properly glorify the Supreme Personality of God or simply hear about His power, the Lord personally enters their hearts and cleanses away every trace of misfortune, just as the sun removes the darkness or as a powerful wind drives away the clouds. So all misbehavior and bad qualities vanish by the Hariketanam and Prasadam. That's why these two are always recommended. Hariketanam and Prasadam. And in this verse, Vidunoti means thoroughly cleansed. So envious attitude will also be thoroughly cleansed by Kirtana. See, mornings are the best for spiritual activities as well as for the mental activities. So that is color, right? First one. The second type of envy is Dvesha. In 33, 32, 40 it says, where it says, it is not to be instructed to persons who are too greedy and too attached to family life, nor to persons who are non-devotees and who are envious of the devotees and of the personality of Godhead. So in Kala and Dvesha, the tendency is the same, but the meaning is slightly different. Kala involves planning, and Dvesha is just envy, pure envy. So this Dvesh creates discrepancy in our blood circulation, and this is its worst effect. See, we may use harsh speech or even disrespect the other person, but it harms us more than the person whom we are trying to harm. So we should not never give in to this Dvesha. Unfortunately, it is our nature to be envious. So how to get rid of it? Srimad Bhagavad Gita insists, Param Drishtva Nivartate. We can cease from these things by having a higher taste. We should try to see Krishna everywhere through Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Then we may be successful. We have to be on guard. Every hour and every minute we are envious. So in order to get rid of this dvesha, we have to understand that the spiritual spark is everywhere and we should not differentiate. Differentiation creates envy. See, everybody is ours and we are everybody's. So don't create sects. I see sections, sects. Minimize the divisions. It will help us to conquer envy. Now, because of divisions, we are envious. Always, it is very essential to get rid of these things for our own healthy condition. See, health is not the goal of our existence, but this is a medium to try to understand the scriptures and have a glimpse of the unknown region. So, Krishna consciousness is the common platform for everyone to be engaged in devotional service, and therefore do not create unnecessary divisions, right? The Prabhupada has given a very, very nice, sane approach to the spiritual matters. Otherwise, we are really boiling and baking ourselves in divisions and getting destroyed. So the more you preach, the more you will understand. So when we try to explain something to others, some or the other, Krishna gives the answers. When we speak about Krishna, we are not speaking. Krishna is speaking. So let Krishna do his job through you. So this is the best use of intelligence. Everybody has a spark. So do not think that you are useless. You have to just continue to study and Krishna will reciprocate. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, one of the seed verses, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. And he also says in 9.29, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. So he's equal in the sense that he supplies the necessities of life even to those who deny his existence. He does discriminate to those who are his devotees. So Harinam, he can do wonders in getting rid of envy. See, wherever we go, we must do me doing this Harinam Kirtanam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this Harinam Kirtan continues, and that is the best preaching. Krishna gives the idea and he only develops the idea. We do not have to worry about those things. The third one is Asuya. So we saw Khala, Dvesha, and Asuya. Asuya is in Bhagavatam 332, 41. 41 next one. It says, instruction should be given to the faithful devotee who is respectful to the spiritual master, who is non-envious, who is friendly to all kinds of living entities, and eager to render service with faith and sincerity. So this should be the person. So, see, in this word, there is a reference to Asuya. This is subtle envy. See, somehow or the other, it is psychological as well as logical. See, we can see in the relationship between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law, right? And possesses the son, and the mother loses her son, and she is affected, and this is psychological. It is logical because now the money is given to the daughter-in-law, and the mother-in-law is completely out of the picture. And this is difficult to tolerate. The mother has raised her son, and she has definite expectations from her son. Daughter-in-law may not be, she may not follow the same traditions. She has her own fatherly way from the house she came from. So thus either the mother-in-law or the daughter-in-law, they freak out. So nothing is to be blamed for this. Why? Because the proper understanding is absent. The missing point is attraction to Krishna. The house which has Krishna as the all in all will not be affected by these things because they are very busy in serving Krishna. So now everybody has to work, right? We have to go to work, right? Installments, loans, so many EMIs are there. And this creates problems. Loan-free life must be there. But what to do? Flats are very costly, right? If you do not have money, but the point in one of the lectures, my Maharaj used to say, if you do not have money, please do not buy. So far as possible, please avoid the loans. Simple life must be followed. So to get rid of these perils of advancement, no, simplicity is the answer. And he also gave an example. Laptop creates electricity on the lap and has a very bad effect. Why it is not? People keep in the lap, right? So magnetic field is also harmful. So the artificial things in the name of fashion should be completely rejected. It may be essential for a few living entities to carry on with their work, right? But whatever is needed, we should touch. So please see that we should thoroughly inspect the house, and throw whatever is not needed. Half of the house is worth throwing. The more things you accumulate, it is the dust collecting center. Get rid of the things, particularly the papers. So much is thrust upon us, right? So try to be simple and immaculate. Minimize your needs. Simple life gives time for breathing, and our health will be all right. And we'll go ahead with the main goal. What is our main goal? Eradication of birth, death, old age, and disease. So this is the way we can get rid of Asuya. And the last fourth one is Matsara, 330 to 42. Here it says, this instruction should be imparted by the spiritual master to the persons who have taken the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be more dear than anything, who are not envious of anyone, who are perfectly cleansed, and who have developed a detachment for that which is outside the purview of Krishna consciousness. So the four types of envy, Khala, Dvesha, Asuya, they are limited. But Matsara is very wide too. Matsara is like machar, mosquito, which goes anywhere and bites. Machar is full of blood. Even then it goes and bites something. So this is our nature. So the very important clue to get rid of this Matsara is given in Bhagavatam 4:8-34. Gunadikan mudam lipset anukrosham gunadhamat maitrim samanat anvichen na tapair habi bhuyate. Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate towards him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. So this verse practically teaches us how we should behave with the three kinds of living entities. Gunadikan mudam lipse. A person may be more elevated than us in riches, knowledge, and whatever. So they should be welcomed with real happiness. Whereas the material way is to be envious. We hate the elevated ones. That is Matsara. So we should discard this material way. Second one is Anukrosham Gunadhamat. We should be merciful to those who are lower than us. But what is the material way? We kick the lower ones. Third one is Maitri and Samana. Those who are equal to us, we should desire sincere friendship with them. What is the material way? Is to compete with them. So this is the key to get rid of the threefold miseries. We should be always in such a way, we should behave always in such a way that the person whom we meet is also happy and we are also happy. Prasannata. This will help us to have a longer and healthy life. Otherwise, in our own body, we are having a bad time. As soon as we get rid of Matsara, there is no way that the disease will affect us. See, Matsara is sitting place of diseases. Like Machar, everywhere it is there without discrimination. So the golden rule to get rid of envy is to stop sense gratification. We are envious because we forget the end of this body. No way we should give place to envy. Especially to known envy, we should give no. Unknown envy may be there. Otherwise, envy forces us to talk nonsense. Simple life and austere life will force us to have immunity. It will give immunity against all these things. So we should always remember the word Bahir Jata Viragaya. Detachment for that which is outside the purview of Krishna consciousness. See, we have to carve in our minds Pravishya Chittam Vidunoti Ashesham. The Lord personally enters their hearts and cleanses away every trace of misfortune. We have so many inabilities. And to get rid of this, we take the Japamala and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare, or read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. So we should not ignore these permanent things. Material things do not require much time. See, our waning years are coming, and our accounts of death and envy must be settled as soon as possible. So always remember the verse 11, 10, 20. Death is not at all pleasing. And since everyone is exactly like a condemned man being led to the place of execution, what possible happiness can people derive from material objects or the gratification they provide? We are going to drop down. So before we drop down, we should let us have a nice bhava for Krishna and have a glimpse of the unknown region. And we can achieve this by our own seriousness. Now in the last translation, 4325, if in spite of this instruction you decide to go, Lord Shiva is telling to our Mother Parvati, neglecting my words, the future will not be good for you. You are the most respectable, and when you are insulted by a relative, this insult will immediately be equal to death. So he's instructing her. So she has to obey, right? So what? Why we are not obeying? See, there is an example of mother and child is very nice. A young child is sleeping, and mother wakes him up. So as soon as the child opens his eyes, he looks at his mother and asks, what should I do now? You have woken me up. What is next? That is our position. He has woken up. Don't sleep, wake up. See, now after we are woken, what should we do? If we don't know what to do, then it is a real pitiable condition. See, mother says, now go and brush your teeth, take bath. But the child says, no, I will sleep for 5 more minutes. This is our position. So Prabhupada has given us the direction. Read my books, take your Japamala and chant. But we say, no, we will do afterwards. This is our position. If after waking up the child does not obey his mother, then mere waking up has no value. Obedience has got to be there. That's why in the wonderful purport of 1.5.24, Bhagavatam, Prabhupada very nicely says, without being self-controlled, without being disciplined, and without being fully obedient, no one can become successful in following the instructions of the spiritual master. And without doing so, no one is able to go back to Godhead. So the obedience is must. It is a must. When we obey, we will advance in life. As soon as there is challenging attitude, you forget about the progress. Obedience is needed. Obedience to the bona fide Acharya. Right? Unfortunately, we have a very bona fide Acharya in Srila Prabhupada. So why should we not obey him with full heart? This is the point to understand. We have to dig into our own heels. See, I must show you that this restaurant is good. And we had a very nice chicken puri there. But you have to go on your own and eat. And then only you can taste. It is not that I go and eat and you taste. Impossible. Everybody has to find out time. Everybody has to find out his own, her level. From there, he or she has to begin by themselves. If you keep on depending on others, then you cannot progress. We have to dig into our own heels. Seva should go on, and along with that, daily we need to study Srila Prabhupada's scriptures. Prabhupada always says that unless you read my books 2 hours a day, you will leave Krishna consciousness and go away. That's what Prabhupada says. We don't leave Krishna consciousness, but we are in an illusion actually, without doing anything. And we think that we are fully Krishna conscious. This is the greatest defect. See, we are following the dictates of our own mind. Complete humility is absent, very much absent. So we have shown him showy humility. That doesn't mean, right, anything. So all these things subtly affect our prayers. In Bhagavad Gita 1.45 and 46, in 45, Arjuna says, Arjuna Vacha, and then 46 is Sanjaya Vacha. Arjuna says, better for me, the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting in the battlefield. He's giving so many excuses for not fighting, right? And Sanjaya says, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. See, Arjuna did not want to fight in the beginning. And he gave all the reasons, which are all good to not fight. Like killing relatives, killing is sinful, killing his children will become orphans. All these reasons are very correct. But why did Krishna reject them all? Because Arjuna's plan was different from Krishna's plan. Whenever our plan is different from Krishna's, we will always be disturbed. If we come to the temple to glorify Krishna, sing and hear nice kirtans, do nice service, then our plan is aligned with Krishna's. Otherwise, it is not aligned, and therefore we are disturbed. So all lamentation, all distress is all within the mind. If we have all different questions to Krishna, why? Then we become dushtita matihi, disturbed mind. But when we completely surrender to the Lord and accept whatever He gives, then we will never question Him, nor will we be disturbed. We will have 100% faith that whatever He does is for our good. So for devotees who have faith, they will never be weak in devotional service. In the entire first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna did not want to hear Krishna. He wanted Krishna to hear him, right? That is why, even after giving all valid reasons, still he was not happy at heart. So this is actually our case. We give all justifications and reasons for our actions. But even after convincing others, still we are not satisfied because our faith is weak. And as a result, our devotional service is also weak. But even though Arjuna was disturbed at heart, still he succeeded in hearing Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because Arjuna was soft in his heart. Prabhupada writes in the purport, such a kind and soft-hearted person in the devotional service of the Lord is fit to receive self-knowledge. See, for example, seed sown in a soft sand grows nicely. So we must also become like soft ground. Presently, we are not soft-hearted, but double-hearted, dealing with different people differently. That is why we are not able to succeed in devotional service. King Rantideva was the best example of a soft-hearted person, which is described in Bhagavatam. He prays to the Lord, 9:21:12. I do not pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the 8 perfections of mystic yoga, nor for salvation from repeated birth and death. I want only to stay among all the living entities and suffer all distresses on their behalf, so that they may be freed from suffering. How compassionate. So Arjuna was not only soft-hearted, but he was also very humble. He did not pose as a devotee. He did not pose. Show it, it's not show it. He honestly put forward his feelings to Krishna and inquired from him submissively. So we should follow in his footsteps to succeed in our endeavors in devotional service. So how to become soft-hearted? 2 things we should follow to become soft-hearted. 1, looking at other people's palaces, don't burn your hut. Looking at other people's palaces, don't burn your hut. Become satisfied with what you have now. And that now is very capital now. Then number 2, stop fooling yourself in this middle world to make impossible possible. So the formula for success in devotional service, 3 things. 1. Please don't use Bhagavatam for your personal name and fame. 2. Don't use bhakti to satisfy your senses. And 3. Don't perform bhakti under the guise of sense enjoyment. Arjuna became a 100% devotee by following Krishna from the second chapter onwards. So obedience is a must in devotional service. And my Guru Maharaj used to say, obedience is the greatest remembrance of Krishna. Obedience is the greatest remembrance of Krishna. If you don't obey Krishna, you cannot remember him even for a second. So it is very important that we abide by the words of Guru and Krishna. We should always treat each other with the soft heartedness of Arjuna. So obedience is the key to Goloka. That's why Bhagavatam 3:13, 9 and 10. One is faith, full faith, right? We should have in the Lord. Prabhupada writes in 3:13:10 that adoration for superior is required. That is, we should obey the superiors, parents, superiors, elders, spiritual master, right? So this is the most essential characteristic of a obedient devotee. See, the moment you hear and execute the instruction and then ask questions, then you get the full blessings and of a spiritual master. So Prabhupada uses the word adoration, right? With a purpose and includes deep love, respect, worship of the spiritual master. So unless these are embedded in our hearts, there is no question of adoration of the superior, especially spiritual master. So this adoration becomes slackened due to 3 reasons. Number 1, not knowing the greatness of the spiritual master or even superiors. 2, familiarity with the spiritual master and considering him to be like us. And 3, when the spiritual master leaves his mortal body. So in all these 3 cases, we may fall into the prey of being offensive to the spiritual master. And therefore, we have to be very careful in our dealings with the spiritual master. So this is especially applicable when the spiritual master winds up his pastimes in this material world. So in conclusion, there are 4 do's and 2 don'ts. The 4 do's, what we must, what are the do's? We must, 1, surrender with our heart for the instructions. 2, accept the order of spiritual master with great delight. 3, execute with full capacity. And 4, have adoration for spiritual master. That is deep love, respect, veneration. And the 2 don'ts, we should not have any reservations and we should not be envious. So once we cultivate these qualities of obedience, Krishna and spiritual master will open the door to Goloka once we take this key with us. So this is the only key we can take with us, not our personal key of Lakshmi, jewelry and property. Obedience is the greatest remembrance of Krishna. And what else we want in the middle world except remembrance of Krishna? Hare Krishna, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gopal Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Prabhupada Mataji, for giving me this opportunity to glorify the Lord and purify myself. And also, it's very auspicious to hear Bhagavatam. Because yesterday we saw in one of some of the classes that just by hearing Bhagavatam, what happened to Parishit Maharaj? He did not read, did not take notes. He just heard Bhagavatam for 7 days and 7 nights. And he was completely liberated. So hearing itself is so important. So that's so thank you very much for this glorious opportunity. Hare Krishna. Mancha kalpatarubhich kripa sindhubayevacha patidanam pavane vivashtam. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada Mataji. Thank you. If you have any questions or anything to share, go ahead.
That was an enlightening class, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Gurudev
Dandavat
ki jai.
pranam.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful, classification of the envy which we should be avoiding. I think, for me, I have not heard a better clarification on not being envious than this. Thank you so much. Really,
Thank you.
extended one and giving extensive quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, which makes it even more, even more relishing. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Gurudev ki jai. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam.
Thank you, Mataji.
Prabhuji, kindly share the recording. I would like to listen to it again.
Yeah, I think they'll come put it in the YouTube. I'll then share it. Okay, Mother. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Hare. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, the Lord.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Very important lessons. Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So, okay, so thank you very much. I'll just stop here. Close here if you know what I'm doing. Hare Krishna.